Hey, I want to tell you about a new mini course that I have. It's called the 5 Minute Shift. One of the most frequent questions that I get from people on social media and clients is, how do I stop feeling anxious? How do I stop feeling upset? How do I stop feeling angry at my spouse? How do I stop feeling a certain way and get to something that feels better? This mini course is to answer that question. It's a 30-minute video. You get a cheat sheet and the slides, plus a Q&A and a why this works video. But really all you need is the 30-minute video, the how-to. It's a process I use every single day, multiple times a day. I have clients who use it and have experienced huge changes in their life. And if you practice this method over and over again, I promise you'll be able to shift any emotion in around 90 seconds to about 5 minutes. So if you're somebody who feels like you get stuck in emotions, you stew in emotions, you spiral in them, and you really wish that you could get out of them and it didn't involve scrolling or eating or shopping or any of that, this is for you. It's $29. There's a link in the show notes, and I hope you enjoy it. Welcome back to Calmer Conversations, the podcast where you learn how to help your brain become a calmer place to be so that it's easier to feel exactly how you want to feel in your daily life. Whether that's feeling calm and confident, content, or even joyful, or just like you've done enough of the right things at the end of the day, or all of the above. I'm Cecilia Mandrick. I'm a certified life coach, yoga therapist, and founder of the Calm Brain Academy. If you're ready to shift the patterns of self-sabotage, procrastination, daily overwhelm, people-pleasing, and perfectionism, you're in the right place. Not only is it possible to change the conversation between your brain and your body, when you do, you'll change your life in the process. And you're one step closer just by joining me today. Ready? Let's dive in. Hey, and welcome to Calmer Conversations. I'm your host, Cecilia. Last week, we talked about maternity leave. Today, I'm going to talk about how you talk to yourself, but kind of in the context of pregnancy. Again, this is something that even if you're not pregnant, it should be applicable to you, but I'm at the end of a pregnancy. And so that's the framing that I'm going to take today. It's really about how you talk to yourself and how we talk to each other and how much it matters. And while I've talked about this before, I think this is one of those foundational things that we cannot talk about enough, and we cannot be presented with enough examples, because it is so crucial to how we feel and how we live our lives. So that's what we're talking about today. If you're human and you talk to yourself, or you are a human and you are around other people, this will be applicable to you. And this is going to be one of those shorter episodes. So if you want to stick around, let's get going. Okay, so like I said, if you listen to the last episode, and I'm recording this on the same day, I'm just over 40 weeks. I'm 40 weeks, 2 days in my pregnancy. And I will say that the last time I was pregnant on a small island in Maine. And so I was not around a lot of other people. And in general, because of my personality or who I am, people don't often I haven't gotten a lot of advice through my pregnancies. And this is my fourth pregnancy, but my third to term pregnancy. So I had a miscarriage around 13, 14 weeks in between two of my kids. But this time I'm in a more public place. I'm around people a lot more, right? My kids go to school now. So my two older kids, they're in half-day Montessori school. So I see people in public, and not just from like the chest up. If you're watching this on YouTube, or you see me on Instagram, where you really only see like the upper part of me and might not even know that I'm pregnant. And some people do talk to me, right? And so yesterday I went to a toddler birthday party, which was very fun. It was at a playground. And I was introduced to another woman who also has two children and who is also about 40 weeks pregnant. I think she's not quite 40, but she's like 39 weeks or something. And I want to also say this is not a dig on this woman, and it's not a rant against her. I have no idea what her history is. She might be in a ton of pain, whatever. But the opening line she had for me was in kind of a grumpy voice, I will say, and that's my projection. Are you ready for it to be over? Or ready for it to be over? Something kind of in that, like, I don't remember if it was a question or a comment. Honestly, that's not where my brain is. And it kind of took me aback. And it reminded me, again, has nothing to do with this exact woman, but it reminded me of what we say in our society and what we say to ourselves and to each other and how much it matters, right? So you can approach somebody and you can say many different things. You can approach yourself each day and you can say many different things. And we often kind of laugh at like self-deprecating humor or misery loves company or complaining about the weather or whatever it is, or complaining about politics, right? When I'm recording this in the US, it's October 28th. And so like we're coming up to a pretty big presidential election. People have these one-liners that we say and we don't even really think about them because this person probably didn't even think about this that they said, right? It wasn't even like, maybe not even totally conscious what came out of their head and out of their mouth, because most of the things that we say to ourselves and to other people, we don't think a lot about, right? They are on autopilot. They are pre-programmed things that are going on in our heads. And we say them. And I don't mean to say that you need to be 100% intentional with everything that you say to yourself, but I do want to suggest that what you say to yourself matters and what you say to other people matters. And when you say something like, are you ready for it to be over? That brings a certain feeling into your body. That brings a certain emotion into your body. That also then continues to create a certain nervous system state within your body because your nervous system responds to what you say. So it's reacting to what's happening. It also changes what you do over the course of the day. So this kind of autopilot, rote society says that once you reach 40 weeks pregnant, you should be miserable and unable to move and all of these things might feel true for some people, right? They might get to 40 weeks pregnant and actually feel pretty terrible in their bodies and be really ready for it to be done. But there are other people who might not actually feel that way, but end up feeling closer to that because they're saying it to themselves over and over again. And I know that this is a little bit of like a weird mind trick, but when you tell yourself you're ready for something to be done or you're miserable, all your brain can see is what's miserable about it, right? Your brain starts to preferentially, your reticular activating system preferentially sends you more information about how miserable this is, whether you're pregnant or not, right? So if you're complaining about the election or about other people around you or about the weather, your brain tells you all the ways that it's bad and that it's hard and that it should be different. Versus if you stop, if you change what you say to yourself, if you say something different, right? If you kind of like, for instance, with pregnancy, if you can like drop back into the magic of the fact that you're like carrying a child in your body, you can start to see things differently. And I'm not trying to, it's not gaslighting yourself. It's not toxic positivity, but it is asking your brain, your reticular activating system, to see something different. Because your brain fundamentally will only see what it thinks it should see. And I want to give kind of a funny example for this. My 2-year-old is super into vehicles. My other 2-year-old was super into vehicles, the now 4.5-year-old. So I don't know if it's just like a 2-year-old thing or maybe it's just my kids, but super into like dump trucks and construction vehicles and all those kinds of things. And we drive around, right? And so if you had asked me how many dump trucks I might pass on a typical day before, I might have said something like 3, right? I might not have even noticed those 3 dump trucks, to be totally honest, because my reticular activating system was not queued up to dump trucks. So I didn't even see the dump trucks that I was passing. Now I have a kid in the back of my car who has a mirror so he can see, like, I don't know, he appears to be able to see 365 degrees around him, 360 degrees around him. And he points out every single dump truck. And it's not 4 dump trucks that we pass in the morning. It's like 30 dump trucks that we pass in the morning, or like 50 dump trucks that we pass in the morning. It seems like a kind of a wild amount of dump trucks. And to be honest, I didn't see them before. And I didn't see them not because they weren't there, but because my brain wasn't used to seeing them. Because my brain had never been trained to see dump trucks. I never asked it to see dump trucks, so it never saw dump trucks. So if you never ask your brain to see what's good about a situation or what you like about a situation or what might be positive about a situation, you never see it. If you only ask your brain to see the things that are going wrong or see the things that are hard or see where you're failing or where you're not measuring up, that's all you will see. It's really, truly, it's all you will see. It's not the truth. It is 100% not the truth, right? It was not the truth that I'm not passing more dump trucks now than I was before. I'm just seeing them. So the truth is not that there are more dump trucks on the road. The truth is that I was not seeing them because my brain was not looking for them. It wasn't a piece of information that my brain was filtering for. And so when we are not expecting to see something, we don't actually see it. And this is huge for how you talk to yourself and how you talk to your friends. And I know that the whole like misery love company and we like to complain and there's like these societal things that it's just like acceptable to complain about, but really think about and notice how it makes you feel. Because I'm guessing it's not very good. And so then you might say, I know that this is how generally people relate. They relate over how hard pregnancy is for me. That's the example that I'm giving right now. But I don't want to feel that way about my pregnancy. I don't want to feel that way about my body. I don't want to notice every little thing that might be hurting or going wrong or is different. I want to notice the magic of it. I want to be connected with this baby that's inside of me. I want to feel powerful and strong going into birth. And those are all things that I can take my brain to. Like I can take my brain to dump trucks, but I just have to ask it different questions and ask it to notice different things. And that will never happen if I'm preferentially saying like, this is so miserable. It's so hard. I wish this were over. So if you want to shift, one of the easiest ways to shift how you feel in life is to just notice how you talk to yourself right now and see if you can make some small changes so that you can notice other things. So start noticing the dump trucks, right? Like start noticing where you're doing things well. This is the principle of the WINS course. And while the WINS course is almost or probably over by the time you're listening to this, you can grab it and you can listen to all the replays and you can have a PDF of the journal. I think I might even have one more physical journal left if somebody wants it. But you can change what your brain sees. You can start to see dump trucks on your drives. And then you will start to notice how many amazing things are going right for you. And I promise it is life-changing. And all it's doing is asking your reticular activating system, asking the part of your brain that does this anyway to notice what you want it to notice instead of noticing what you don't want it to notice, which is everything that's going wrong. It's such a useful thing to do. It is just notice every time you're using self-deprecating humor. Notice every time you're connecting in a place of complaining and see if you can take a break from it for the next 30 days and see how much your life changes. All right. That's my short little episode on what you say to yourself and other people matters. I will see you next week. Bye. Hey, this is just a quick add-on. I recorded the episode about how you talk to yourself and why that matters yesterday. And then in the middle of the night, as commonly happens to me, I'm thinking this episode is coming out during the holiday season. And so if you want to make this really applicable for yourself now in the holiday season, you might ask yourself, what stories am I telling about the holidays? So very often we have things like they're stressful or they're lonely or they're going to be hard or they're going to feel busy or they're going to feel overwhelming. And again, as with what the example I was giving around being pregnant, you might just notice what you're saying and the direction that's giving to your brain for what to see. So for instance, if you're saying the holidays are stressful, your brain is preferentially going to tell you everything about the holidays that are stressful. And I don't want you to gaslight yourself and tell yourself that the holidays aren't stressful because they are for many people. But you might also ask yourself, what's good about the holidays, or what do I like about the holidays, or what part of the holidays, where is there ease and calm within the holidays? And when you start to ask these questions, when you start to come back from, for instance, or you've had a big weekend and you want to reflect on it, if you start to ask yourself, where was there fun and ease in this weekend, or what did I like about it? That just trains your brain to see that instead of the stress. So again, instead of telling yourself this is stressful over and over again and teaching your brain to preferentially get that, to send you the information to tell you what's stressful, you can actually ask it something different. Okay, I just thought it might be helpful to make this applicable to the holidays since we're moving into them. And I know that it's probably on a lot of people's minds. So ahead of time, even you can think about how you want to think about the holidays or how you want to feel through the holiday season. and start to ask questions or start to work with your brain in that way. And again, this is a really amazing time to come join the club, to get in, to get coaching, to look at what's happening in your brain. I know it feels like a time when you can't add anything else on your plate, but this is the time when you need to be looking at your brain so that you can reframe it, so that you can have a different experience of this time of year. Okay, that's just what I wanted to add on. I hope that's helpful. And I will see you next week. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Calmer Conversations. Take what you learned today and use it in your life. Even if it feels a little awkward or clumsy at first, remember these are practices and that real change comes from implementation. Then send me a message over on Instagram or TikTok and let me know what worked or didn't work. If you want to dig deeper into something from today's episode, all of the resources can be found at the link below in the show notes. If you like this episode, there's a great chance that you'll love working with me. Join my monthly coaching community by visiting me on Instagram or my website, www.ceciliabmandrick.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts, and I'll see you back here next Thursday.